Homage to fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni, homage to wisdom, warrior Manjushri, homage to all lineage benevolent masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize Tathagata's true meaning. In order to liberate all sentient beings from samsara, generate supreme bodhicitta. Now let's continue with the words of my perfect teacher on karmic acceptance and rejection. The first topic discussed killing among the 10 negative actions. Yesterday we also discussed how young people in the world create much karma through marriage. When we celebrate New Year, host guests, and hold various banquets, these occasions also often involve creating very serious karma. Here it uses a Tibetan woman as an example to illustrate that actually women create quite serious negative karma in terms of killing. From then on, every time the woman returns to her parents' home, her family must kill a being to entertain her. Moreover, when relatives and friends host banquets for her, if they serve other foods like butter, dried cheese, milk, yogurt, the 3 whites and 3 sweets, as well as vegetables, flour, tsampa, and such foods, this cunning woman seems completely unsatisfied. She won't eat. Eating vegetables seems to give her diarrhea, or she has no appetite, doesn't want to eat, or eats just 1 or 2 bites. From her feelings and facial expressions, she feels she can't eat well at all. It seems she won't open her mouth or move her jaw to eat, acting as if she's unwilling to move her mouth or eat. But if they slaughter a fat sheep and place the sheep's breast, intestines, and so forth in front of her at this time, this red-faced demoness, as Patrul Rinpoche begins to describe her, this red-faced demoness crosses her legs, takes out a small knife, and begins eating with relish. Because when she started eating vegetarian food, she was completely unwilling and uninterested, but with a little meat, lots of mutton and beef, she takes out her small knife with relish. At that time, her appetite is very good, and she eats quite well. Her complexion and expression are all very happy. The next day, she returns home carrying bloody meat like a hunter. Every time she comes home, she comes empty-handed. When she returns, she goes back fully loaded. Truly more impressive than a hunter, because hunters, sometimes when they go hunting, can bring back animal carcasses, but sometimes they can't bring anything back and return empty-handed. But these women, every single time they go home, 100% will bring meat back in Tibet before. There was indeed such a tradition of loving meat, as I mentioned before. This is very bad. But at that time, perhaps indeed in Tibet, on the high plateau where vegetables and various grains were scarce, there were certain difficulties regarding food for human survival. The social conditions then were indeed different from now. This point cannot be denied, but generally speaking, women are also particularly frightening. Generally, worldly people think women are more timid and men are braver, but sometimes women are even more vicious than men in killing beings. I see that in Han areas too. Some women kill chickens and other animals like eels. Many butchers are women. Killing pigs, sheep, and cattle might be done by men, as women generally don't have the strength. But in killing chickens, women are also particularly skilled. In a small village in Ruyan City, Zhejiang, I heard it's called Ant-Eating Village. In that village, there are about 1,000 people. 70% of them love eating ants. Every household there first digs ants out of ant nests. After digging them out, they put them in a bucket and place it on a hot pot. The ants on the hot pot are steamed and cooked. Some eat them dried, some eat them alive, some eat them after cooking. I heard they make ant wine and ant food products, claiming they boost immunity and have many health and nutritional benefits, with various wrong and propagandistic claims. So nowadays people's lives sometimes really appear extremely frightening. A book I read before mentioned some women who appear virtuous and gentle on the surface and from worldly and various aspects of knowledge are accomplished and excellent, but when eating animals they are extremely cruel. So from the tips of their white teeth fresh red blood often flows. We can say this: in the world, people all think tigers are frightening. They're called wild beasts. Why? Because they eat people and are very vicious. But people often eat these beings, and we seem not to care. Sometimes it seems that when the Yushu earthquake killed several thousand people, the whole world was very concerned about this matter. All newspapers and news media reported on it saying how pitiful they were, but in slaughterhouses or markets, how many beings are slaughtered every day? Actually, their lives and our human lives should have no difference, but we haven't included this in very peaceful laws for treatment. Therefore, in the world, indeed the behavior of eating other beings is very bad. Many Buddhists here should play a very good and positive role in this aspect. In the future, eating the flesh of beings, especially killing beings, this point must be taken seriously by Buddhists. Otherwise, as we often say now, some so-called lay people and Buddhists who have studied Buddhism for many years don't understand the seriousness and harmfulness of killing at all. They seem to think killing people deserves legal punishment and is wrong, but think killing other animals or insects doesn't matter. This kind of thinking is wrong and mistaken, so women should have compassion. If women lack compassion, here they're called red-faced demons to Tibetans, I think, if their complexion is white, but they lack compassion and often kill beings, and through their connections cause countless beings to be killed, then they're white-faced demons. We can say this. Also a manifestation of demons. Therefore, many people here might think they're not actually killing now, so probably don't have faults in this regard. They've been overlooking this point in their lives. When we now slowly and carefully observe, in our own lives, we've indeed intentionally or unintentionally created much killing karma. Killing karma in the world is truly the most frightening, I think. Why do I say this? Because in the entire world, life is the most precious. I remember a short story from the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom. A man went to the ocean to retrieve treasures, but his boat was destroyed. All his treasures sank into the ocean, but fortunately, he alone safely returned. After returning, he was very happy, saying, "I didn't die," and so forth. Others mocked him, saying, "Why are you happy? All your most precious treasures have fallen into the ocean. You still think you're fortunate?" Then he said, "Among all treasures, human life is first. Among all treasures, human life is the most important. Among all treasures, human life is first. People seek wealth for the sake of life, not life for the sake of wealth." Why did he say this? Because in the world, life is most precious. People seek wealth for the sake of life, not life for the sake of wealth. So we should know that in this world, life is most precious. This was his reasoning in the world. Any insects or animals, while body size may differ, the feelings of suffering and happiness have no size. For example, when an adult is killed or has their hand cut off, they suffer greatly. We know children are the same. If cut or slaughtered, they also suffer. So when humans are killed, they suffer greatly. And the small insects we see may appear tiny on the surface, but when these small insects are killed, they likewise have their feelings. So this suffering from killing doesn't distinguish ethnicity, country, or species, and doesn't distinguish their skin color, black or white, as long as they come to this world, except for true great bodhisattvas who have attained supreme states. Generally speaking, all beings large and small fear death and love life. They have this natural pursuit. If we recklessly trample on such pursuits, then let's see if this person is good or bad. People who see them are all especially afraid. As also mentioned in the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom, those who love killing, all living beings are unhappy to see them. People who like killing, all beings with life are unhappy and displeased when they see them. As long as someone loves killing beings, everyone dislikes them. If one doesn't love killing, all beings are happy to depend on them. If one doesn't love killing, no matter what being seeing them feels safe and wants to approach them, we're usually like this too. Butchers who like killing beings, staying in their homes at night, we feel somewhat afraid. Will this person, for money or something else, get up in the middle of the night and kill me? We'd fear them. If someone truly benefits all beings, we all want to associate with them. So here we must understand whether men or women, a heart that loves beings must be cultivated. So how do children create killing karma? When these little friends play and have fun, whether seen or unseen, the lives they kill are countless and numerous. Even in summer, holding cattle whips or leather whips in their hands, they often strike the ground, killing many insects that we can't see. We've all had childhood dreams. And in this process, I feel, except for very few who have matured, Mahayana, Buddha nature from childhood, some may have killed frogs and tadpoles, as well as dragonflies, butterflies, insects, earthworms, ants, and so forth. Many small insects were probably killed in childhood, but sometimes I see that in current cities because people are particularly densely packed and buildings are basically, when we were young, outside was a green world. At that time we often saw various insects, but people in cities now basically can't see them except for school concrete playgrounds. They basically can't see outside grasslands in such times. Opportunities to kill small insects might be fewer, but some children, because they lack such cultivation from childhood or traditions of compassion, when they grow up, they might kill chicks, small birds, small rabbits when they become adults. They kill cattle, horses, sheep. Gradually, they begin killing lions and elephants. Their behavior becomes increasingly excessive. When they become scientists, they also think of using atomic bombs, nuclear weapons, or other various weapons to kill countless people. This will definitely happen, so our education of children indeed from childhood must receive compassionate education. At least I see many teachers have also come here today. You must require children from childhood not to kill. Whoever kills must be punished. I heard that here some students who don't hand in homework stretch out your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 striking continuously like this. This is also acceptable. If they kill a being, then even more should be done. From childhood, one approach is forceful punishment. Another is that from childhood they should understand through reasoning, just as Buddhism teaches, just as we protect our own lives, all other beings protect theirs. Through reasoning, children should have such compassion from childhood. So last year on Children's Day we had many related children from various cities at that time. With some Mahayana Buddhist content they performed animal liberation, chanting Buddha's names, prostrations, offering lamps and singing Buddhist songs, dancing Buddhist dances, and so forth related to our compassion, harmony, or loving and protecting beings, many programs for them to perform. This year too, primarily through Wisdom and Compassion Buddha Light website and related media, now there's still nearly a month until Children's Day, we also request that various places hope that from childhood in children's hearts, in their mind streams, plant seeds of compassion and love for beings. This is more important than anything else for their lives because generally speaking, influences during elementary and middle school they will never forget throughout their lives. We are the same. Everyone here should be very clear. Any event from when we were in elementary school, any event from middle school, even now we remember vividly and clearly, but many things after that become forgotten and unclear. So sometimes we combine traditional Chinese studies with Buddhist studies, sometimes through various media, cartoons, recitation, and various activities plant good seeds of compassion and positive influences in their mind streams. This way, when they grow up, even without wealth, status, or fame, they become people with Mahayana nature, possessing kind hearts and bodhicitta. I think this is more important than anything else. So many Dharma friends here. Each person should have responsibility for the children around them. Their future destiny is actually closely related to the people nearby, so now it's still timely for us to save them. Perhaps one very small action of ours, a very simple thing, can play a very significant role in their entire life and even future lives. So sometimes some teachers here on the surface don't appear like worldly great masters, or compared to many people's achievements, their contributions seem invisible. But I once heard a speech from someone in Qinghai who had been an elementary school teacher for over 30 years. He said, "Although I've been a teacher for over 30 years, every time I feel I'm doing something, I want to help these people. These people are the future main creators of worldly enterprises and our future true promoters of national culture." When he spoke like this, we also understand that whether adults or children, the destiny of many people's future survival is in our hands. Therefore, everyone should generate aspirations together and also care for those around us. During the Ming Dynasty, there was someone called Jin Wen. He wrote Records of Protecting Lives, which contains a story mainly explaining that if children are particularly evil and love killing beings, not to mention future lives, even in this life there are immediate karmic results. It tells of a child in Jeju who especially loved killing. Moreover, he often dug out bird nests and ate all the bird eggs inside by gnawing on them. He especially enjoyed doing this. Later someone told him, Come with me today. We'll go to a certain place where we can dig out bird nests. When he went, suddenly it seemed to transform into another world, forming many cities and houses. At this time, his feet began to burn. He was completely reborn into a living hell. At this time, while crying bitterly and wailing in distress, he ran around. While crying and running the east gate, west gate, all gates were sealed shut with no way out. While crying and screaming, other mulberry pickers saw this and told his parents, "Your child is crying continuously in that field." Why? When his parents came to find him, the child had already fainted on the ground. His feet below the knees were completely burned and rotted. Later, he never recovered for the rest of his life. There's this story. So some children in schools, some children how to treat certain strange diseases that can't be helped and for which no treatment method can be found, ultimately dying or becoming disabled. This should also be related to their killing. Some are of course related to past life karma. Everyone wants their children to become useful talents for society and family in the future. After all, we live in this society. We should still care about our surroundings and everyone. Don't just think about what I eat and how I sleep every day. If, besides me, you have no altruistic heart, then you're not a Mahayana practitioner. Below it also explains how cruel we people are living our days through killing activities, exactly like demons. Utterly inhumane. Just as explained before, if we kill like this every day. Actually, some people in big cities nowadays might indeed be similar to hunters and butchers of the past. Why? Because they eat many animals with every meal. For example, like by the seaside in some big cities, they must kill how many beings with every meal. In this case, for example, like hunters of the past, they might not catch any prey in a day and return. But now some people must order live, fresh animals with every meal. In this case, wouldn't they be even more frightening than hunters? If we call their whole family hunters, they might be unhappy, but actually killing so many beings, we can call them that. We can imagine it this way. Here it also explains, for example, that cows are used by people throughout their lives, providing milk for humans, raising us like parents. Especially for Tibetan herders, the kindness of cows is very great. All milk and dairy products all depend on the essence of their bodies to nourish us. We can say their kindness is as deep as the ocean. But how do we treat them? We kill them when they get old. After killing them, we drink their blood and eat their meat. Thinking of these humans, they're simply more vicious and worse than demons. Demons sometimes toward their own. There are two types of demons. One type eats their own children. One type of demon has a little compassion. They basically don't eat their own parents and children. Moreover, among demons and evil spirits, some don't kill on the spot. They kill only after a long time. I think I've told this story before. There's a well-known story in Tibet that humans are more powerful than ghosts. Why do we say this? A thief went to hide in the forest. He wanted to steal cattle from nearby herders at night. At night, a demon also came. When the demon and human were communicating in the forest at night, later, they learned that this demon had also come here to harm yaks. The human said, "Since you're a ghost, you're very powerful. You go kill the cattle. I'll wait here for you. I'll fetch water and prepare to boil water. We'll prepare to cook meat." He thought in his heart, "I'll wait for you." The demon went out. From early night to late night, near dawn, it returned. It returned empty-handed. After returning, he asked, "Did you accomplish this task?" It said, "The task is accomplished. The task is accomplished. Then where's the beef? Why didn't you bring it?" It said, "The beef can't be brought. I just encountered a cow and inserted a piece of wood into its hoof. Then it will definitely fester and become infected, slowly getting sick. After some time it might become disabled and slowly die, so there should be no problem. Don't worry." The thief was unsatisfied and said, "Your method is too slow. Waiting that long is difficult. I'll just go myself, you wait." After this person went out, he immediately killed a cow and brought back all the organs and meat. After bringing it back, the demon was especially afraid. It said, "Oh, you are the real demon. Your actions are so swift. I don't dare partake." Then the demon saw the human and ran away. It didn't partake together, so indeed sometimes humans in our world are more frightening than ghosts. Why? Ghosts kill beings one by one. Some ghosts, through spreading plagues and creating natural disasters, gradually execute after creating various conditions, slowly, while we humans immediately kill on the spot and eat on the spot. So when we go to restaurants, everyone should be able to feel this. Humans sometimes, especially this current terrifying behavior, have absolutely no compassion in their mind streams, just thinking about their own taste desires and bodies. Besides this, there's nothing else to think about. So in this regard, humans are indeed more frightening than ghosts. Below, it explains that people who create killing karma, if they possess the 4 branches of negative action, will definitely experience the complete retribution of killing. When we study the Vinaya, we also often explain this. We also explain this when teaching Pure Land Dharma to those present, but this is very important. Many people don't know whether they've truly completed all the negative karma of killing. They also have some doubts, so below it explains. So what are the 4 branches? Let's give an example to illustrate. For example, a hunter hunting wild beasts. First, his eyes see that this is a deer. He first discovers the other party is a wild beast and has identified it as such and such. This is a deer, sheep, yak, fish. He has identified it. This is clearly identifying the object to be killed as a being. This is the first branch. So if the object to be killed is mistaken, for example, Bush really wanted to kill bin Laden, but almost misidentified him. There are such cases. When Saddam was killed, there was no misidentification. He was correctly identified. In this case, correctly identifying the object is the first condition. The second condition, then toward this wild beast, generating the intention to kill, that is, generating the intention to kill. This is the second branch, the second condition. First knowing the other party, then wanting to kill it, generating the thought of harming it. After that, the hunter uses rockets, guns, knives, and various weapons to strike its vital points. This is called taking action as the preliminary step, which is the third branch, the third condition. You actually use your actions to kill it. Immediately after, severing this wild beast's life force, causing its body and mind to separate. This is called the ultimate severing of the life force. This is the last one, the 4th branch. If these 4 conditions are complete, the negative karma of killing any being is complete. Another example is given. The content of these 2 examples is the same. For example, slaughtering a domesticated sheep. First, the master tells that guests have come today, and there's something special. Now in Han areas, many say, today we'll have hot pot, tomorrow we'll make something. It's New Year, today we must kill sheep, kill dogs. There are such sayings. He tells the servant or butcher to kill a sheep, at this time clearly knowing that the being to be killed is a sheep already fulfills the first branch. He's not killing a yak, not killing other animals, just killing the sheep. At this time the object has been targeted. When they have the thought of killing a certain sheep in their minds, this shows the intention to kill has been generated. Thus the second branch is fulfilled. That butcher takes a rope and goes to catch the sheep he wants to kill, then immediately throws it to the ground, then uses leather rope to tie its front and back hooves tightly, then uses thin rope to strangle its mouth and lips. Through this method, taking killing action. It generally dies by suffocation. In Tibet, killing cattle and sheep was originally all done by suffocation. This is the 3rd branch. The 3rd branch is now complete. Actually, death by suffocation generally takes about 10 minutes, it's said. So beings suffer tremendously. We ordinary people, holding our breath for 1 or 2 minutes, we really can't bear it. If using a knife to cut off the head, generally yaks might die within 3 or 4 minutes. If using modern electrocution, they die instantly. So truly, if killing is absolutely unavoidable, actually reducing the suffering of the beings being killed, reducing their suffering is very important. So now internationally, many death sentences are all carried out through electrocution. This is also a very good method. Since killing is unavoidable, it's best that the suffering during this brief time is particularly unbearable. His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche also spoke about this in class before there was a master from the Dawu area who went to the Dzogchen and Derge areas to study. This master's name was Lama Woser. His compassion was extremely strong. After he went there, He heard that when killing cattle there seemed to be a nerve pathway at the back of the neck. If this nerve pathway is pierced with a knife or awl, the being will die immediately, probably an artery or somewhere. After he returned, he told his fellow villagers, "If you absolutely must kill yaks, you should use this method to kill them." Later, some people specifically slandered him. Our certain master went to study. He didn't learn the Dharma he should have learned, but learned methods of killing cattle that he shouldn't have, and came back to promote them locally. But later the master also explained, a true great bodhisattva might himself have some negative karma, because after teaching others methods of killing cattle directly or indirectly, he might be tainted with negative karma, but regardless, because being's suffering would be reduced. I heard that method is very quick. When the cattle fall to the ground, they're already dead. So I think now, especially in slaughterhouses, whether death by suffocation or by cutting, I think some Dharma friends may have seen in the journey of compassion those yaks. After butchers cut off their heads, their eyes keep rolling, but their bodies turn in big circles and keep trembling. So this suffering of dissolution is indeed very, very unbearable. We sometimes think, now that science is so advanced, if these cattle must be killed, couldn't they be killed immediately through electrocution? For many beings in slaughterhouses, there would still be some relief when being killed. Because our usual illness is completely different from the suffering of death. Every one of us in our current daily lives finds illness unbearable. But when you're dying, that suffering is indeed quite unbearable. So seeing these pitiful beings, sometimes people have some methods that might not consider themselves but should think of some methods. This is also a very important matter. Here we're discussing the third branch. At this time, one sees that being experiencing the intense suffering of breath separation with internal and external breathing basically cut off, staring with wide eyes, tears streaming. Its corpse is dragged indoors because after it dies, generally when killing sheep, the corpse might be dragged indoors. At this time, the ultimate severing of the life force. The fourth branch is fulfilled immediately after. The master begins skinning with a sharp knife. At that time, this livestock's muscles keep trembling in waves. This shows that the all-pervading wind hasn't completely disappeared yet, so it's no different from being alive, exactly the same. At this time, the master immediately puts the fresh meat over fire to roast, or puts it on the stove to stew, then begins eating in a grand manner. If one thinks about these people who devour sentient beings alive, they're simply no different from cruel and savage wild beasts. Sometimes, when we look at humans, they should be a symbol of compassion, but actually, they're truly no different from wild beasts. Especially our cruel abuse, killing and harming of beings is simply beyond description. In Tibet before, there were indeed such particularly abhorrent behaviors when they weren't yet completely dead, cutting the meat piece by piece, then starting to cook and eat. Truly extremely frightening. Now in any restaurant in our world, basically the methods are all the same. Some are for taste, torturing while alive in ways more terrifying than death. I heard France has foie gras. You've probably all heard of it. Foie gras, caviar and truffles are said to be the three finest delicacies in the world. Foie gras. I heard from others the goose's liver is enlarged through certain techniques. While it's alive every day, it's force-fed large amounts through the esophagus. At that time, its suffering is extremely unbearable. Gradually, the goose's liver grows to 10 times its normal size. After this is done, people say it's very nutritious. I heard it's especially expensive, and caviar is also made from fish eggs. So some people nowadays especially like KFC outside. Those chicken legs they make, I heard the chicken's body is especially small. Then the legs are constantly given drugs through various methods, constantly swelling. Finally, the beings can neither die nor live, so people can eat well. Actually, after eating, people's bodies take all these chaotic drugs all absorbed into our bodies through this chicken meat. Why do we now have so many untreatable diseases, so much cancer, so many illnesses? We can say they're manufactured by humans. Therefore, when we sometimes see the suffering of these beings, we humans constantly talk about world peace. Actually, the fundamental cause of world peace is indeed great compassion. Without great compassion, wanting world peace between people, between countries, between ethnicities, for the entire globe to live in harmony, I think this is very difficult. Buddha also said in the sutras, possessing only one dharma, all excellent dharmas of bodhisattvas are possessed. What is this one dharma? It is great compassion. Great compassion is indeed very important for human survival and is the source of happiness for all beings. The Avatamsaka Sutra also explains, compassion is extremely vast, bringing peace to all beings. If our compassion is extremely vast and far-reaching, then it brings happiness, bliss, and peace to all people and all beings. If we lack compassion, no matter how we speak, actually, we probably can't manifest beauty in this life and future lives. So there's a treatise that emphasizes great compassion called the Great Men Shastra, composed by the Indian master Tipolo. It exists in Chinese. I heard it only exists in Chinese, not in Sanskrit or Tibetan. I'd like to translate it, but human life is short. There's no way. Because it doesn't exist in Tibetan, it mainly explains that having great compassion makes one a great man and can become a cause for Buddhahood. If one lacks great compassion, nothing can be accomplished. It contains a verse saying, such compassionate giving has infinite merit. Such subtle giving brings peace to all beings. The meaning is that such compassionate giving has endless merit. Such compassionate, subtle giving brings incomparable happiness to all beings in the world. So can many people here truly generate aspiration? If other Buddhist precepts are truly impossible to maintain, the sole precept of not killing beings and having compassion cannot be abandoned by a Mahayana Buddhist. The sutra requested by Ananda says, not abandoning one dharma is maintaining all excellent dharmas. What is not abandoning one dharma? Not abandoning beings. Not abandoning beings when we come to this world is indeed very important. If your spiritual level is somewhat higher, then constantly cultivate compassion. It seems in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, if one can constantly cultivate loving kindness toward beings day and night, because of this, one obtains constant happiness because one doesn't harm others. Why should you cultivate loving kindness long term? Because through such compassion, countless beings constantly obtain happiness. Moreover, their bodies and minds won't suffer harm. So if this society has more and more people with great compassion, it should become a garden of happiness. If people's hearts lack loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, then, no matter how much material development on the surface, humanity might ultimately destroy itself. This won't necessarily be beneficial, so I often think the so-called source of world peace is Mahayana compassion. If this compassionate heart is absent, we speak of peace on the surface, but actually there are no methods. In the 1980s, the quite famous Lama Mogi Sumtun in Tibet, especially before Tibetan cultural circles, was indeed a very excellent person at that time. Truly excellent. He has already passed away. He said the life force or central pillar of world peace is great compassion. I remember he said such a sentence, said very early on. We were very young then and didn't pay special attention. But now it seems that some words of old practitioners are still very valuable. So let's not talk about world peace, the peace of a nation or the peace of an ethnicity, even the peace of a family or a group. People with strong compassion naturally have an atmosphere of harmonious coexistence. Naturally, there's no problem. If everyone lacks great compassion and all strive centered on me, it probably won't be like this. Everyone should remember this. Currently, some people generate thoughts of killing certain beings or also speak such words. Although their killing actions didn't succeed, they already possess knowledge that the object is such and such being and generated the intention to kill. These two karmic branches are already complete. They spoke with their mouths, thought in their minds, or had some behaviors and actions. Although they didn't complete the main action, such karma is serious, but like reflections appearing in a mirror, the karma has already stained one's mind stream. Usually, we also can't speak of killing certain beings. It's best not to think it in our minds, and we can't do it in our actions. Even jokingly, don't say, "I'll kill you." You can't say this. Why kill him? It's not that easy. Some people, when angry or quarreling, if you're really not careful, I'll eat you up. Humans eating humans is not that easy, so there's no need to threaten others like this. If you say this, although you haven't eaten human flesh, but in your mind stream, the negative karmic seed of eating human flesh has been registered, this is not good. Moreover, some people think that unless they personally kill with their own hands, those who merely instigate others to kill have no negative karma, or think that although there's some negative karma, it's negligible. Some people say, I myself didn't kill, but I had others kill. I'm a monastic, I'm a practitioner, I can't kill. Some lay people I heard when ordering at restaurants, I won't order, I've already taken refuge, you order. But I still like eating this certain fish. This is somewhat frightening. In fact, even those who rejoice in killing also have the same negative karma. How much more so for those who instigate others to kill? Instigating others, according to the Hinayana, is not particularly serious, the same as killing oneself. The Vinaya also explains this. But to the Mahayana Bodhisattva precepts, because killing oneself means one is stained with fault. If one has others kill, then one also harms others, so in this regard, it's more serious than killing oneself. When we study Mahayana Buddhism, the severity of negative karma is indeed more serious than killing oneself. We can say this. We must understand anyone who participates in killing receives the complete negative karma of killing. First, as I just explained, Mahayana, altruistic mind is very important. If your altruistic mind hasn't matured, such killing harms oneself and also harms others. A sutra called Sutra on Deciding the Effect of Good and Evil Action says, when the human mind thinks good, there are good results. When the mind thinks evil, there are evil results. Because everything is controlled by the mind. Acting freely, one receives the corresponding results. It seems to say later that what we become in the future actually has certain differences based on your words and actions. So having others kill is actually no different from personally killing many beings, rather than the negative karma of killing being equally divided among many people. For example, when ordering food, 10 people order one fish. You can't say the 10 people divide the negative karma of one fish. Each person gets a little bit, resulting in 1/10 each. It's not like this. The treasury of Abhidharma also says, soldiers and others, for the same deed, all people are equal to the doer. What the treasury of Abhidharma explains is that if 100 army soldiers kill one person on the surface, it looks like 100 people killed one actually. Each of the 100 people has the fault of killing one person. Creating merit is also the same. So everyone must pay attention to this aspect of killing. Current killing, I feel, is connected with many negative karmas and particularly frightening. For example, like how people nowadays are, particularly in China, it seems like this, but foreign countries apparently aren't like this. When His Holiness went to some Western countries, places like KFC and McDonald's aren't considered the best foods. But now McDonald's, according to 2009 statistics I heard, has about 30,000 locations worldwide, including about 750 in China. They have chain stores in about 120 countries worldwide. It began operations in 1955. Their customers reportedly number about 50 million people per day. In this case, the number of beings killed goes without saying, and KFC apparently has over 11,000 locations worldwide in over 80 countries, relatively fewer, but in China there are apparently over 2,000. In so many chain stores, they share a common aspiration because their slogan is, KFC says, our chicken is the highest quality, the best. Another slogan is, I love eating it, I just love eating it. That's roughly the meaning. In this case, everyone's slogan and common goal is the same. So eating there once actually connects with all the negative karma from the 30,000 plus locations worldwide I just mentioned that are slaughtered every day. So many people should think whether they dare to eat there. In this case, at minimum, I sometimes think certainly tens of millions of chickens are slaughtered every day. So if I eat there once, maybe I acquire this negative karma from, I think one started in 1955 and one in 1952. From then until now, it's been nearly 50 to 60 years, during such a long time, cyclically killing beings. This negative karma, let's not talk about other things, just the fault of eating one chicken leg. I probably could never achieve liberation, as Patrul Rinpoche said the day before yesterday. The owner of 100 cattle or sheep must fall into hell once. This might indeed be true. As Jigme Gyalwai Nyugu also said this, it should be so. But nowadays, opening killing factories, what kind of negative karma does the owner have? Truly very frightening. I heard that in 2006, a Hong Kong celebrity went to speak at some universities and ate over 300 pounds of fish in one meal. Later, the restaurant owner said, "You truly are the god of food. The god of food lives up to his name." There were probably other people too, eating over 300 pounds in one meal. How many fish is that? So, sometimes our slaughtering in cities compared to Tibet and other remote places is truly enormous. In Tibet, as just explained for example, when his daughter comes home, maybe they kill one sheep, then she takes a little meat back. The quantity isn't very much. Of course, the killing is still very frightening, but the quantity isn't much. But now, in Han areas, every time we go to restaurants, to some large entertainment venues behind their dazzling, extremely comfortable and pleasant numbing sensations, countless beings have already paid with their most precious lives. So at this time, we should think about what kind of world we humans are surviving in. Sometimes humans should ask themselves, what particularly sorry things have I done to beings in the past? Sometimes I see some Dharma friends say, I read a Buddhist story and I'm really sorry to my teacher. Reading a Buddhist story makes you sorry to your teacher. I don't think there's anything to that, but if you've killed beings, then you're truly sorry to those beings. How will I repay them with my precious life in the future? Do you have a plan for this in your heart? So the negative karma of killing is truly very serious. Therefore, we should still think well, and after thinking, we should confess. For the rest of our lives, even if I starve to death, I won't intentionally kill beings. I hope everyone, after listening to this class, will make such a vow. Even if I starve to death, I won't intentionally kill any being. If you have such determination, I think much of the negative karma you've created through killing in the past will gradually be purified. All right, let's stop here.
Om